worked at first. When we started the Rares Forum, nobody knew the patterns.
Even EA, or excuse me, OSI, did
no
not
clue.
know how this worked. They were all, this is not supposed to be able to happen. You are not supposed to be able to own a water tile.
Right.
And in fact, they would waffle back and forth a bit. Sometimes it was an exploit to own one, and you could be banned. Other times it was, you got really lucky, and ooh, look what you got. But it was it was on again, off again as to whether or not it was a problem, and they really didn't know. And we came up with the stuff that was like server birth, and then
there's weekly, daily, and monthly, I believe.
Yeah.
Something like that. There were different server scripts, I guess, that would run to replace different types of objects at different frequencies. And we went through, and from the Rares forum, talking to everybody in the forum, and we cataloged all these items and figured out when they spawned, exactly where they spawned, how much they were worth, things like that, and it was an extremely useful resource. There were also other types of, like, not server errors, but where they would have the Easter Bunny. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
They had a giant blue bunny that would hop around on Easter. It may have only been 1 year, too. And it dropped eggs, colored eggs. And that was actually how I got involved, because I picked up a blue Easter egg. And I was like, what is this thing? I accidentally double-clicked on it and ate it.
Yes, I remember that when you could eat your rare item.
And so I went around and collected some more, and that was actually how I got started in Rares, and I was trying to find information on it, and that's how I got into the forum. And that, for me, was always my my Moby Dick or whatever. I was always trying to collect all the Easter eggs throughout all of my UO time. I never got all of them, but I had a pretty good collection of them.
Yeah, there ended up being literally, well, several thousand rare items.
Yeah.
A lot of them were one-of-a-kinds, and some of them, you know, I bet you that we didn't even discover all of them.
Oh, I'm sure we did not. There were so many hard-to-find ones. There were probably some that people didn't realize were rares.
Right.
That may have been server bursts.
You remember, like,
destroyed.
Horse dung?
Yeah.
You can go to the stables and pick up horse dung.
Yeah, and people wanted it. Rocks, like Buck's Den had a daily, I think, rare spawn of a rock just outside of the city.
Yeah.
I believe it was on the southwest corner. It's hard to... It covered up a hole, actually.
Stuff like horseshoes and hay.
Yeah.
And there was different types of hay. There was like thin scattered hay, and there was thick hay.
And we had information on all of it. There was blood.
Oh yeah. I remember you could pick up blood tiles, and the blood bowls.
Yeah. Oh, those were so popular.
Yeah, and just an incredible amount of stuff that really, if I had to have a fondest memory of UO, it was collecting rares.
That was probably so for me too. And all that information led to the Rares database, which is probably enough information for its own topic. But yeah, Rares forum, that was fond.
Yeah, I really loved that. I really wish we could recreate that magic again in the game. I don't know if we could create that for any game.
The problem I see is that a lot of the game companies don't really support it anymore. They try to create rares.
Well, now wait a second. They do support it. Look at what UO does right now. They have rares that are programmer generated, that they have placed in there. And I call them Easter eggs now. I wouldn't
that's the problem.
That's
what I don't... A lot of the community was built around trying to figure out how this worked when the company themselves didn't even know. And you can't really create that anymore. They tell you. It's like with WoW, they're like, you know, you can get a legendary weapon if you kill these, collect these items, put them together. Whatever.
Right.
There's not...
And it may be a rare or a hard item to get, but
there's no going out searching to try to find where something is, find something that nobody else knows about, get something that spawns maybe once a day, nobody really knows how it works, figuring out the patterns, things like that. That aspect of it is gone. There's still items that are rare, but what we called rares don't exist in my mind anymore.
The rares economy really, probably 2001 or so, that rares stopped being so rare, and that happened through dupes. And so, you know, of course, if you have a one-of-a-kind item and you duplicate it, you now have two of that item, and really it cuts the value in half. And if it's something really, really rare that has a lot of people that want it, then you end up with 50 copies of it or 100. I don't know if you remember all of the furs the rugs.
Yes.
And they were an item that I think was selling for around 10,000 gold each.
I don't remember the prices.
Or was it? Yeah, it was gold in there.
But weren't they reintroduced with a patch or something like that, where you could actually get them without it being rare?
Well, and that was part of UO saying we acknowledge this rares market,
and we're going to get into it ourselves.
Yes, and we don't understand it, and but everybody wants rares, so let's give it to everybody.
Right, and then they aren't rare anymore.
I know.
Yeah, that's the problem I see.
EA, that is one of the most stupid ass things you ever did. I don't usually talk bad about you, but
tell us how you really feel, Marcus.
Oh, stupid ass. Okay, this is a family show. I'll stop that.
Yeah.
But I was really upset whenever they started doing that and messing with that, because they didn't understand the market in the first place. They didn't know that these items existed until they saw that they were being traded.
Yeah.
And people talking about it and everything. It was just considered a programming error.
Even when we were doing all the research on it, we didn't understand the market really. No. We didn't understand why people what made people really want these things. Obviously rarity is one thing, but there's more to it, like the searching for it, figuring out the patterns. And that's something that, I mean, I have a little bit of inclination as to how it works, but I definitely don't understand it completely, and I don't think people, like the programmers, no offense, but even if it was stupid ass, but they definitely didn't understand, and just getting in there and just creating items that are rare without all the other tangential rewards that go along with the rares market or went along with it. That's what killed it, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, that was some fun history.
Yes.
We grew up with that. We do still have a rares forum at Marquee Dragon. It's nothing like it was before, and really that is because of the fact that now they are all produced and they introduce an item, and the specs for those items are actually published in many cases before the item is even released. So there's no discussion, no wonder, no just finding it.
Right. You can go to Thoughtbot or Alakazam and just look it up.
Yeah.
Find out exactly where it drops, how much, how often, and all that information is programmed by the game companies.
Right. So that was probably a one of a kind thing.
Period. Yeah. It was, I think.
Yeah. So
it was great.
Anyway, check out our rares forum now if you want to see some of the history, and look at our other videos for some of the history. And thanks, Britt, for doing this video with me.
Yeah.